Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. First tonight, Tasmania's borders have officially reopened to Western Australia, but travel restrictions are now in place for 15 new locations across New South Wales and Victoria, as those states record new community cases. In Tasmania, embattled sectors say it's a reminder COVID uncertainty is far from over and it's taking its toll.
For commercial fishers, the last 12 months have been particularly challenging.
It's been a bit tricky, but we had 50 days off when COVID first hit out because we'd lost the wholesale market.
And more uncertainty lies ahead.
We've got significant market barriers into China and the industry's been struggling significantly.
Certainly our export markets have been terribly affected, but nationally it's had a huge impact.
It's taking a toll on those working in the sector.
These guys have got the normal hassles of life, family, kids at school. On top of that, all this uncertainty, that's why we're twice as likely to suffer significant psychological distress.
And they're not the only ones. From hospitality to tourism, COVID has decimated thousands of businesses. But organisations like Stay Afloat and Rural Alive and Well are hoping to start conversations around mental health.
With RAW, we're sort of starting to find an avenue to be able to talk.
So we encourage people to come out and, are you okay? And follow up on a conversation and keep talking about mental health.
35 federal government grants of up to $2,000 up for grabs, specifically for the seafood sector.
To enable groups around the country to work with those who work in this industry, to reach out in whatever forum to raise awareness.
Also working towards similar arrangements for other industries, but the COVID uncertainty is far from over. 2 new cases linked to hotel quarantine have been identified in Victoria and New South Wales.
So the hotel quarantine program is working and will continue to make sure that we address any issues with that into the future. 15
hotspots are now considered high risk across the 2 states.
We encourage anybody who's travelled to those areas who is now in Tasmania to immediately self-isolate, get some public health advice.
The state government is monitoring the situation closely, but say it's a reminder for Tasmanians to continue to be vigilant.
So if people are wondering why we're still doing checking in at venues when there are no locally transmitted cases here in Tasmania, this is why.
Meg Signs, 7 Tasmania News.
North West public transport users claim they've been forgotten after a critical bus terminal was swiftly closed by the state government. Labor has sharpened its attack, starting a petition to reverse the contentious decision, but the minister in charge says there's no issue.
For the last 4 years, the only way Tony Medcraft has managed to attend essential medical appointments in the city has been on the bus.
I don't drive anymore, so I need a bus service to get me through to Launceston.
So when the Devonport resident found the old transit centre had closed and been replaced by this, he wasn't impressed.
I probably would be looking at other ways of travel.
He was the first to sign a Labor petition calling for the reinstation of the old passenger terminal. The party claims the new hub offers no customer service, no toilets and no face-to-face tickets.
There's been little to no consultation about these changes. People aren't aware of where they need to be.
How confident do you feel buying a ticket online?
Oh, I don't, but I had to.
Passengers say they're also forced to change multiple times on the northwest route, waiting up to an hour between connecting buses. But the Transport Minister has hit back and says the new terminal is only across the road from this temporary bus shelter.
All of the intercities bus services are arriving and departing from the Parranapple Centre, a far better, a beautiful building.
Now accusing Labor of spreading misinformation.
Labor should stop undermining confidence in the Parranapple Centre, which is probably the state's best bus transit centre.
Meanwhile, the minister was making his own announcement on the ground in Grindelwald, again spruiking overdue upgrades to the West Tamar Highway as this key transport link remains another construction site. Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
2 young men, one only 17, have had their cars clamped following a police crackdown on hoon drivers. The teen and a 20-year-old man were arrested at the Greenbanks Industrial Estate over the weekend. Authorities say the operation targeting hooning hopes to curb an increasing amount of antisocial behaviour in the area. And it was the biggest event on the calendar for local fans of the sport. Members of Tasmania's original Gridiron League from the 80s and 90s and a brand new women's side watched the tale of the touchdowns unfold.
Any form of local rivalry was put to the side today as viewers became either a Chief or a Buccaneer on the spot.
Not a lot of people dead keen fans of either team, so a lot of swinging allegiances, I think.
But some of these fans have marked Super Bowl Day in their diaries for decades, including one who took part in the state's original league.
I was the coach of the University Wildcats team, and we were an incredibly successful team, and the guys over here are part of that team, and we get together every year at the Super Bowl to reminisce about the good old days and to watch the game.
4 teams now take part in the local league, which came back from the dead in 2014. New women's teams are now popping up too. The Lady Knights will begin this year.
I think it's a very interactive sport. I love the women's power that we're kind of producing doing it, which is great.
Minor premiers this year with a round to go, and looking forward to finishing off the season with a win.
Every miss, every touchdown was felt by rivals in Launceston. A red drink wouldn't be unwelcome. It's the Gorillas kit after all.
Us Gridiron players, it's a dream come true to be able to watch it and be able to get together and share the moments.
Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
The oldest church bells in the Southern Hemisphere have rung out to mark the final day of the Royal Hobart Regatta. The bells first started ringing for the event in 1847 and have sounded out almost every year since. It's a physically tough job for the ringers at the Holy Trinity Church, saying playing the tune is more like working out a mathematical sum rather than music.
We try to ring for as long as we can without repeating a pattern, without repeating a sequence. And so we've got these patterns in our head of the way we change and swap and change amongst ourselves and keep it going. So it's a sort of a randomly changing sound that's endlessly varied.
In the skies above the church, the roulettes showed off a second aerobatics display for regatta goers. It winds up 3 days of celebrations and performances at the traditional waterfront event. Tasmania's Labor leader has revealed she's expecting a new addition to her family. Rebecca White and husband Rodney Dan have announced they'll be welcoming a new baby into the world in June. It will be the MP's second child after her daughter Mia was born in 2016. Well, winding down after a busy weekend of Tas Pride events, festivities continue today at the Big Queer Picnic. The annual gathering invites the entire community and their pooches to come together for a celebration of diversity.
Particularly today when I see so many young people with their parents here, of all sorts of diverse backgrounds. It's really, really lovely to see.
The day also included a pride parade of a different kind, with these pets showing off their best moves. And in the true spirit of inclusion, every pup got a prize.
Hawthorn has confirmed Tasmanian Jackson Kellogg has been invited to train with the club. The Age reports Kellogg is tipped to be a potential replacement for the beleaguered Jonathan Patton. Despite being overlooked in last year's draft, the North Launceston product will aim to join the Hawks list through the pre-season supplemental draft. Stuart McSwain has been pipped at the line in the 2-mile race at the Parkdale Gift in Victoria. The finish was almost identical to Bernie's New Year's Eve carnival, where he was held off by a similar margin. Tasmanian motorsport legend John Bowe has revealed he's being diagnosed with prostate cancer. But rather than slowing down the racing veteran, he's using it to urge other men to be tested. A routine medical check to renew his racing licence delivered John Bowe a shock.
I have got cancer of the prostate, and I'm told that it's not going to kill me, which is good.
Instead of retreating to the pits, Bowe was going on the front foot, urging his motorsport followers to be tested as well. His message is having an immediate impact after Bowe was flooded with messages of support.
If I ask them for $50 each, I could just, I'd probably race in Formula One. I did it for a reason, not to get people to feel sorry for me. I did it because I think it's really important that blokes go and get tested. It's very easy to do.
The 66-year-old will begin his treatment tomorrow. One thing's for sure though, Bowe won't be slamming the brakes on his racing career. He's determined to be at Bathurst for his beloved touring car Masters in a few weeks' time.
I'd have to be on my deathbed to not go to Bathurst, even if I might not be at full speed. I'll still be there. motor racing, as everybody that knows me knows, is my life, and you know I love doing it, and that's what I'll be doing.
He's just as resolute about the series returning to Tasmania next year after a successful Simmons Plains and the chance to race at Baskerville for the first time in more than a decade.
It's race victory 100 for John Bowe in the Touring Car Masters.
It was great. I hope it can happen every year.
Even more motivation to stay the course. In a rare moment today, Aussie captain Tim Payne rolled the arm over for his university side in the one-day cup final of the Cricket Tasmania Premier League. The Aussie captain bowled 10 overs and took the big wicket of North Hobart's Tom Rogers. However, he did little with the bat, making only 9 as his university teammate Jake Doran plundered a century to chase down the 290 target with an over to spare.
Good evening. Launceston and Cressy our high today with 23 degrees. Hobart had a far from glorious regatta day today. Fairly overcast and isolated drizzle patch, but a day off is a day off. Burnie 22, Devonport 20, and your guess is as good as mine as to Devonport's overnight low. I'll go for 9. Most temperatures were between 2 and 5 below average. Ouse and Friendly Beaches 21, Flinders Island 20, St Helens Grove and Strawn 19, King Island 18 today, and my weather watchers in Stanley today, Pat and Di, report it was sunny but windy there. The cool breezes did push over us from the southwest, bringing that field of cumulus cloud over the state. Now low cloud over the east coast of the mainland as well. The monsoon trough active over the far north, a tropical low over the Northern Territory, more low cloud onshore over Western Australia. Tomorrow a high extends a ridge over us and points further north as well. A trough runs north from central Victoria and the tropics are awash with action. South to southeasterly winds at 10 to 20 knots, slowly tending northeasterly during the day with swells at 2.5 metres in western and southern waters. Hobart a cloudy Tuesday, 17 the top, 17 for Adventure Bay, partly cloudy for Tarraleah, 18 the maximum after a 2 overnight. 9 overnight for Launceston, sunny tomorrow and 22, 19 the top for Devonport, partly cloudy for Bridport and 21 the maximum. 18 for Burnie, sunny for Strawn, 21 and 20 the top for Marrawar, partly cloudy. 17 for St Helens, bit of cloud about, those cool breezes in the east keeping the temperatures down. Swansea the same, Whitemark up to 20 degrees. Now the UV, that'll sit in the very high range at 10 tomorrow. On Wednesday, fine and mostly sunny, and with the winds from the northeast, Strawn in the west will be the pick with 23 degrees. Not lasting long though, showers developing in the west during the afternoon on Thursday, and they'll extend statewide later in the evening. And on Friday, possible showers, the numbers say 40% chance for most of us, the west coast 70%. Partly cloudy for Perth and Adelaide tomorrow, a sunny 27 in Melbourne, cloudy in Canberra, 25 in Sydney with a few showers, and partly cloudy in Brisbane. Partly cloudy in Hobart and 17. Sun trying to peek through over Launceston, 21 at the moment and 21 currently in Devonport. Another typical summery week coming up in Tasmania. Kim.
Mixed fortune. Thank you very much, Merv. And that is all your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us this evening. Good night.